That's all right. We'll call this just types of, we'll just do communication. So we're going to break these down a couple of different ways as we go along. The first big difference I want you to think about is when I'm calling somebody on the phone, so here's me. And remember I was saying ring, 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 ring. I'm calling my wife. See, even if I wasn't married, I would have me and my wife, because then I could draw and you'd know what the difference was, right? It's like when you hear me talk about my mother's dead a long time ago, but you'll hear me like, oh, I need to call my mom. And they'd be like, what? Okay, so get used to it. All right, so I ring, 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 ring. I don't know about that, but the first thing I get back is hello, right? And then I say hello back. And then I say something like, school closes at 3. Okay. I need you to pick me up. I'm not going to write that out. And that might be like, what time? What time should I go home? So now I'm totally lying to you, by the way, right? As you guys know, I rode my bike today. And so when I get back from class, I'm going to take care of some business. I'm going to get right home because I ain't riding my bike when it's snowing and it's going to be cold anyway. So I'll say, I can't do it at 3:15. It's going to be like 3:30. I have to do all these hands-on exercises and stuff. Probably 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock. And then it's going to be, okay, oops, okay. And then I'll say like, thanks. Bye. And then she'll say bye. Oops, bye. And then that's click. Okay, so that's over. Click means no one says anything, right? We just end the conversation. Right, so there's basically some parts here. Up at the beginning, we will call this a negotiation. Okay, what we're going to do at the front part is she answers and says hello and doesn't say hello, can you hold on a second? Because the hello means I'm ready to talk to you. Then I say hello as sort of an acknowledgement, yeah, I'm ready to talk also, and then we start talking. So we'll just call this a ready to, and I'm going to put converse here because we're going to worry in a minute about a different type of thing. So are you ready to converse? Then down in here, we are exchanging messages. Okay, so that's fun. And then down here, we are closing. Okay, they call it negotiated closing, but we're not going to worry about that for a minute. Okay, now here's what happens up here. During negotiation, we learn things like who is here. It's okay to talk. So that means we can just start talking. Once we've decided who is here and that it's okay to start talking, that enables exchanging messages without saying who anymore, just as an example. So I call, and the hello I hear is from my wife, and I recognize her voice. I say hello, and so she recognizes my voice. Are we cool with that having a purpose? You all have answered someone else's phone and you'd say like, hello, Russell's phone. You better. Because the other person will be like, wait a minute, who is this? So this is the who is here and we're ready to talk. And we basically negotiated with each other that I can now say and just talk. This is more payload, you see that? I don't have to add this overhead anymore. I can be like, I don't have to say, hi, this is Russell, school closes at 3. Hi, this is Jane, school, okay. Hi, this is Russell, I need you to pick me up. This is Jane, what time? This is Russell, 4 o'clock. This is Jane, okay. This is Russell, thanks. This is Russell, goodbye. This is Jane, goodbye, done. No, the overhead is taken care of, okay, without saying who is talking. This is just as an example. So the messages here are all part of the conversation. Okay? And you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up one where they're not. Okay? This closing part is just to sort of, and when we get into this, when the computer deals with it, we're going to free up resources. Okay? By saying goodbye and goodbye, it's like a signal to say, okay, it's all right for you to hang up your phone. So if I'm just talking along, and all of a sudden my wife hangs up, I might still keep talking. That's overhead. I look like a chump, right? But I'm wasting time because she's off the phone. So the goodbye and the goodbye is like, okay, put your phone down and we're done. This is the pick your phone up and start paying attention. Here's the put your phone down and you're done. This one is called connection oriented. All right? There's that dramatic move away. I'm going to have to do this on a separate sheet because I'm going to bring that other one back in a second. So we'll do this other one. And the next one, here's me. Oops. Ah, man, I blew it. We'll put a swept dress, right? Okay. And now instead of calling on the phone, I'm going to send her a text message. In order to send a text message, I need to say to, we'll call it wife, from Russell. See, I'm writing in lowercase because I have one of those old push button phones. And I'm too lazy to push the shift button first. What did I say? I don't have to say hello now. I can just say school closes at 3 o'clock. Oh, I put 3 on the other one, sorry. Then I send that message over. All right? She gets the message, and now she needs to say okay back. Now, when I look at my iPhone, it just has little speech bubbles that look like this, right? On my iPhone. Oops, I don't have the blue eye. We're cool with this, right? It has those funny speech bubbles. I don't own an iPhone, though. It doesn't matter anyway. Because even though your iPhone is going to keep track of it on the bubble, she still needs to say to Russell from wife. I can't tell you her name because then she'll show up at something and you'll be like, oh, I've heard all about you. Instead, you're going to say, I don't know. I think he's making everything up about you because you don't look anything like that. All right, what did she say? From wife, okay. When I'm responding back, I'm going to say to wife from Russell. This, by the way, is what it looks like anyway on the flip phone I have. You get every message separately. They don't connect them together. What was it again? I need you to pick blah, 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 blah. All right. Are we good with this? I'm not going to continue this down because I don't want to waste the rest of the paper. Or I don't have any paper left. See how the edge of the paper is right there? You guys can't really see that. So I'm not going to go all the way to the end of the paper, but there's no negotiation up front. Okay? There's also, this is not real time necessarily. So this is asynchronous. That is, it means it's not real time. I'm not going to probably use these words again. Synchronous means real time, like you're synchronized, I suppose. Okay? This is not necessarily real time. In the other one, remember, I said hello and hello, and that was like, okay, we're going to keep this connection open, and it's just right here. People are going to acknowledge, like, she said okay right away. She said what time right away. In this, I might be annoyed when I send her the text that says school closes at 3. And if it takes an hour for her to say okay, I'm going to be annoyed, but the text messaging system isn't going to help me out here. It's not there saying like, hey, you have to respond really quick. No. It's completely like they're totally separate stuff. You guys have dealt with text like this, right? You send someone a text, you don't expect a response right away. If I call you on the phone and we say hello, hello, then we're talking and then we can talk. But this is asynchronous. I can't really deal with the timing. So we'll go here. No, well, we'll just put here. The timing is, we'll just put by another process. Okay, so in this protocol we have nothing about timing. I'm worried about it though. And so if I send her a text and an hour later she hasn't sent me a text back, I might call her on the phone. That's another process. You following me? So this is not anything to do with texting. We're good here. Okay, so timing is via another process. There's no open and no close. We'll put close. This one is connectionless. Now let's think, when would we use one that has a connection in it versus one that doesn't? I told you all a while back, here I'll get my watch out so we can pretend we're looking at my watch. Ooh, that's a nice glare. I hate this watch. Well, I don't hate it. It's really hard to see this watch because it has like this little tiny dot. It's right there. You see that? And if the glare is right there, you can't see the dot. So when it's late at night and there's like one light above you and you're like, I want to look at my watch, you can't tell what time it is. So there's no point in me putting up this watch to say, and I was telling you about timing, how long it takes for a report to come out. One of the things I was changing was between a connectionless protocol and a connection-oriented protocol. The debate of when to choose either one, I'm going to have to go to another completely different sheet, is this. I'm going to use connectionless when I have relatively few exchanges, relatively few exchanges. We'll just put expected. Oops, oh, good grief, that looks terrible. I'm just going to start over because I want it to look nice. Connectionless when, I'll just put it on a different line. Number one, we have relatively few exchanges anticipated. Okay? So if I'm only going to exchange one or two things back and forth, all right, then I would use this format. And you all have dealt, hopefully, with this. You guys make good decisions about when to text versus when to call, right? I'm going to send someone a text message. One of the things I'm going to do is if I only need to maybe send them some message and only get one response back. If I'm expecting to have lots and lots and lots of back and forth, I need to call them on the phone, right? Because I can do that a lot faster. That's one concern. The next concern is, we'd say real time is not needed. So I don't need to know in real time whether the person got the messages or not. So we'll say unacknowledged, and we'll worry about that one in a while too. But the idea here is, and I already told you this one, I send her this message, I can't really expect or know when this okay is. You guys do this, right? Hey, you guys want to go to lunch at 5? And then you get the response from the person the next day. Oh, dude, sorry, I missed their message. Yeah. So that's connectionless when you want to do that. Now, connection-oriented. Is pretty much just the opposite. Number one, there's going to be lots of exchanges. And there's going to be, what was the other one? Oh, real time. So I want to know what happens. me make sure I'm doing this right here. I got a connection. We're going to negotiate it. You guys see, this is what this slide would have looked like. I like my people better. I'm a lot better at drawing stuff than this lame old slides. All right. So I got real time needed. All right, so let's think about it. Web. Do I want to do connection-oriented or connectionless for web? So think about when you guys do web browsing. Is it if my typical web browsing is I request a page, read the page, and then we'll just say move on. So if I'm reading a blog, I might type the blog name or pick it out of my bookmarks. I get the blog and I look at it, and then I'm done with the blog. Which one would we choose? Connectionless. This one has connectionless. Relatively few exchanges anticipated. Y'all see this? I'm only requesting the page and I get the page. That is one exchange. One message sent, one message comes back.
Yeah. But there's not, like, there wouldn't be a specific timeline as to when you get back, right?
Right. Oh, you mean the request and the read. We'll worry about that in a minute.
Oh.
Okay. But yes, I would like it right away. Luckily, there's a computer on the other end, and it usually responds right away. Remember, my problem here was I wasn't necessarily sure if my wife was around. We'll worry about the other thing in a second. Okay, so this one would generally be connectionless. Now, let's think about if I'm on Facebook. Now, I hear that the kids don't use Facebook anymore, but you guys aren't kids, you're college students. So if I'm on Facebook, I'm going to request the page. Okay, so I see my page, I log in, I get a news feed, and you guys realize that any time I type in a comment, there's going to be an update. You guys have seen this, right? There's all kinds of crap happening on Facebook all the time. Well, not crap. Nice things happening on Facebook all the time. So when you're on Facebook and it dings at you, dee-doo, 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 and there's a message coming up, I like that the message coming up is the same as if someone commented on your post. So you know right where to look, don't you? It is the same, isn't it? Seems like it's the same sound. It's pretty annoying, anyway. Well, turn on your sound, it does. There you go. I never use the text, but I know people that do, and I hear their text sound, or their, what is that, instant messenger thing. Anyway, all these updates and whatever else, if I'm going to be I am on Facebook, we understand here there's a lot more requests and response going on, right? So ideally, why am I saying ideally? I'm saying ideally because it's not connection oriented. It's not connection oriented, it's connectionless, because when the World Wide Web was created, you pretty much did this stuff, and that's all. You guys remember back then? No, you don't. I'm old. When it was like, I don't know, all these, every page was at a university, and it was just, welcome to my homepage. You guys remember, no, you guys remember MySpace? I am old. How old are you? Oh yeah, GeoCities, yeah, and it was the same thing. So you'd go to someone's page and you clicked on a link. That would be to a completely different server. Like you're reading along and there's a link there. You click on something and it goes completely different. So web was created to be connectionless. And so even though Facebook has all this stuff, oh, this is where we're getting to your point. Even though Facebook has all this stuff, it does the chirps and everything else. The responses and the timing, where are we? So for connectionless, response and timing are dealt with by another process. So this is just like when I was saying I hope your notes aren't this bad, because that would be really hard to study. So if you're connectionless, you can still worry, and I told you about this with my wife, right? If I send a request and I don't get the response right away, then I may immediately go to call on the phone and see what's going on. Just like here, if I'm doing the blog, I request the page and I don't get the response right away, what does my web browser do if I don't get a response? Y'all have seen this, right? It throws up an error page that's going to say probably connection timed out if it's just waiting, right? Waiting too long, it'll say connection timed out. And what do you do when you see that? You might hit refresh, right? So here it is, another process. You see that? So even though this protocol, the web protocol that handles the request and the returning of pages, doesn't worry about timing, there's another process that does. Facebook is the same way. You know, the way the web is built up, HTTP, there's no thing of like where you could possibly be able to do instant messaging. But Facebook has written their own processes that decide and handle making sure you get the messages between each other. You know, following me? They worked really hard on it. It used to be your news feed. It was just, it came up with like, you know, a screen and a half full of news on it, and then you had to hit give me more news. You guys remember that? Or you clicked on the button? It was a long time ago. Now you just scroll to the bottom and it does a JavaScript and gets more stuff. Okay. So that's connection oriented and connectionless.